Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I want to show you how to recreate the synthesizer sound of the Radiohead song Everything in its Right Place. That sounds more or less like this. But I want to start with you from the beginning, so let's go to an empty slot here, and we always start from the mixer by choosing which oscillators are we gonna use. I want to use only oscillator 1 in a sawtooth, so that's perfect. But I will also add some noise to bring texture. And let's check the types of noises we have here. I think blue is good, blue noise. Let's go with this one, 94. It's a good starting point. So the next thing we want to do is to filter all this noise. And by doing some research on how was this song recorded by Radiohead, I saw these posts from the band producer Nigel Godrich, and he has tweeted a photo of Tom York recording Everything in its Right Place on a Prophet 5. And the Prophet 5, it's an analog synthesizer that has a 4-pole low-pass filter. We don't have a 4-pole filter here in the Hydra, but we actually have a low pass filter with 8 poles. We have to decrease the cutoff to about 55 here. Much more pleasant sound, but let's add some resonance to it. Better. And the other characteristic of this sound design is that every note that is played has an initial click to it. And the way to achieve this is to actually start working on envelope 1 here on our filter by removing the sustain all the way down and adding a very fast decay. But then we have to go back to the filter and say how much will the envelope 1 amplitude affect the filter cutoff. And we can change this value to around 8 here, almost 9. And you can hear now how every note clicks when I play them. But this sound design in this song is very dynamic. And now you can see it's very static. So we need to add some modulation to the filter. And we will do that by changing the LFO 1 here that is already connected to the filter. And I will use this LFO as a saw up wave. So the sound goes up and cuts. And I wanted to sync that with a beat of the song to a rate of about 1/4 and adjust the level to about 88 here. We have to go back to the filter to actually hear how much will the LFO affect the filter. And this can be very little. So you can hear now that when I hold a note, the LFO is changing the filter. Perfect. But in order for this to sound good with the song tempo, I did some testing, and I think for my way of playing around 76 is a good measure. But as you can hear, as soon as I release the notes, they are fading or stop sounding really fast. So I need more sustain here. And to do that, I will go to the envelope 2 in the amplifier, and I'll increase the release time here. A very long time, around 480 milliseconds. So now you can hear that when I release the notes, they sound for a while longer. And another way to make things more dynamic here is to go to the amplifier section and increase the velocity envelope. And what this does is that it will create more sensibility. It will turn this sound more expressive. So if I play harder, the sound will be louder, but I can play very smoothly and it will sound quieter. Now let's try to give this sound even more texture by changing the voicing here and adding maybe more density. And also, I always like to add some analog feel, even more when you are trying to emulate a Prophet 5. And let's turn the warm mode on. And what I would like to do for my own taste is to actually increase the stereo width. So now for every note that I play, there is a stereo spread that mixes the notes between the right and left channel. But this sound is quite dry, so I will add some reverb to it using the default hall reverb. Just changing the wet and dry here to about 48%. So now the notes are sounding for a longer time. Let's hear. It's already pretty close to the original song, but I'll try to use some effects or mutants to shape the sound even more. But if you got that far with me on the video, before I continue, all the parameters I have set so far are pretty general to any synthesizer you want to design a sound for. But from now on, I'm going to use some things that are particular for the Hydrasynth. And I am talking about the oscillator mutants here. And I'm going to work with Mutant 1 of oscillator 1. And just for the Hydrasynth users here, what I would normally do while designing a sound, I would work on the mutant right after defining the wave shape of my oscillator. But in order to be didactic here on the channel, I wanted to leave that step on the end of the video so that everybody that doesn't have a Hydrasynth can follow us. But what I did in my sound design was to use a mutant called Phaser Shift, the last one on the menu here. And basically what I wanted to add was a lot of feedback. And of course we have to bring the signal wet. Let's shape here. And to round off a little bit more, I would also like to add some equalization at the end of the sound processing. And for that, I'm going to choose here as post effect the equalizer. And what I want to do is to boost my low ends. Here we have it. I'm pretty happy with the result. So for a quick recap here, let's go around to everything we did really fast. So what composes this sound is a single oscillator on sawtooth with a phaser shift mutant, and here you can see that we added noise to the signal on the mixer, and this was blue noise. You can see the values. For filter, we have chosen an 8-pole filter, and we are using both the envelope and LFO. So here's the LFO set to a saw up at 1/4 of a bit rate, synced to the tempo. And the tempo, like I said, it was set to 76. And if we look at our envelope here, the envelope has a very fast decay, and that's what give us the click sound. So that's the essence of our sound design. What I added, the subtleties I added in the end was to add velocity control to the amplifier and also working with a release time on the envelope to get the sound to resonate longer. We added a default hall reverb, and as a post effect we added the equalizer on low boost, also default effect. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you, and as a little bonus I'm gonna show you my take on how to play that song.